Hello. It's good to see you. We are back with part 2. We are up to chapter 7. So I thought I would read a little bit for you this afternoon. Okay. I wanted to point out something too. I don't remember if I mentioned this before. I think I did mention this. But after you finish part 1, knowing what you know, when you go back and reread part 1, parts of it are going to read very differently now with the information that you have. When you go, because I noticed that while I was writing it, if I went back to look at something, like if I wanted to verify a detail of some sort, I noticed that part 1 read differently. Parts of it made sense to me in a way that they didn't before I knew what I found out at the end of part 1. So it's just a neat little thing that I noticed when I was reading it. I didn't plan it that way, it just happened. Okay. So we're at chapter 7, part 2. So the chapter numbers restarted after we finished part 1. Part 2 is shorter than part 1. We're on page 592 out of approximately 780. Aiden tensed up the moment he saw Litty, looking quite different, running toward him. A kiss was the last thing he expected, but he grabbed her immediately and kissed her right back. Lucifer stood up, turned around, and looked at them. He couldn't help but smile a little. Litty ended the kiss and stood back to look at him. "You were with me the whole time," she said. "As much as I could be," Aiden said, kissing her again. He pulled her into another embrace. "I've missed you so much." He looked over at Lucifer. "I disobeyed you," he said. "I'm sorry." He looked at Litty. "I couldn't help it." Lucifer gave Aiden a stern look. "You're setting a poor example for the others. You give them ideas and I'm always discreet," Aiden said. "Hardly. I only know a few details about your most recent incident, and it's enough to know you were anything but discreet. There will be a punishment. You can count on that. First, we have to deal with the fallout from this situation, starting with her." Lucifer moved in closer. "I think she's ready to see who you've been missing, Aiden." Aiden looked at Litty with concern. "I already know about the hair," she said, running her hand down one of the curls. Aiden looked at her hair, his eyes gleaming. "I've missed your hair." He held a hand up. "Not that there's anything wrong with your human hair, but this." He reached out and stroked her hair. "Wow." "Did you hear anything I just said?" Lucifer asked. Aiden bowed. "Yes, sir." "You're in trouble," Litty whispered. "I'm sorry." Aiden touched her arm. "You have nothing to be sorry for. Remember that." "There will absolutely be a punishment after we clean up the mess you made," Lucifer said. "I need to know who else is involved besides Claire." "She told you—" "What did she tell you?" Aiden asked. "Nothing, but to see her in all new clothes tells me she's involved in something. I'll deal with her later, too. Now, Litty. It's Litty, correct?" Litty looked at him confused. "Who? Are you talking to me?" Aiden and Lucifer glanced at each other. "What is your name?" Lucifer asked her. Litty looked down at the floor for a moment, lost in thought. She looked back up at Aiden. "I don't know," she said. "This whole ordeal must have scrambled my brain or something. Aiden, I know your name. I know who you are." She grabbed his hands. "Who am I?" She was starting to panic. Lucifer motioned for Aiden to move away from Litty, and he did. Aiden watched as Lucifer took Litty's hands in his. He looked into her eyes. They gazed at one another for quite a while. "Tell me who you are," Lucifer finally said. "I'm—" Litty stopped, putting her lips together. "You had a name on Earth," Lucifer said. "But what is your real name?" Litty whispered something so softly that Aiden couldn't hear it. "That's right," Lucifer said. He smiled at her and squeezed her hands. "Take a look at yourself." He let go of her hands and stepped aside, revealing a freestanding, full-length mirror in front of her. She slowly moved forward, studying her face in the reflection. Aiden made a move to approach her, but Lucifer held up a hand and shook his head. Aiden stayed where he was. "My face," she said, turning side to side. Look at that. She looked at her hands, especially her fingernails. She looked down at the floor and then back up at Lucifer. I'm taller here. Lucifer approached and looked in the mirror. How does it feel to be back? I feel lighter. Everything's lighter here. She looked in the mirror again and smiled. I remember this face. I remember. Lucifer put his arm around her. You're back early, but it's always nice to see you. He gave her shoulder a little shake. Welcome back, Porsha. Chapter 8. It was like seeing an old friend looking in that mirror. I still had a lot of questions and everything wasn't totally clear to me, but looking in that mirror and seeing Porsha's face, my face, wasn't scary at all. You'd think it would be, but it really wasn't. I almost expected to see it, so it was more like a nice surprise than a shock. The whole experience had a comfortable feeling about it, like it was something I'd been through before. I said so out loud as I continued staring in the mirror. This is a tough transition to go through, Lucifer said. Why would I have to go through this at all? I asked. Aiden started to say something, but Lucifer stopped him. I thought it would help you learn something. But what? I asked. Lucifer looked at Aiden. Why don't you take her for a little walk down memory lane? He said. Aiden bowed. Yes, sir. He looked at me. Are you ready, Porsha? For what? I asked. He laughed a little. I suddenly found myself in a totally different place. Like snapping your fingers, we were instantly out of that office and standing outside. The surroundings were beautiful. It looked like something out of a dream. Aiden still had a hold of my hand, and he was looking around at everything, too. Where are we now? I asked. Does any of this look familiar? Something about it definitely felt familiar, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it, and I told Aiden so. He said that I should relax and just give it a minute. Do we have somewhere we need to go? I asked. You know, something about a mess that needs to be cleaned up. I still don't understand any of what went on at that hospital. I know, Aiden said, and I'm sorry to keep you in the dark, but in order to really understand that, we have to go back to the beginning. The beginning of what? The beginning of you and me, he said with a smile. He took a step forward and then stopped. Don't worry about time, he added. It doesn't pass here the way it does on Earth. We have time for this. I stared at his face for a minute. What is it? He asked. Why don't you look any different? You've looked exactly the same since I first saw you. Why haven't you changed? This is the way I look, he said. I change my appearance on Earth as needed, but this, he gestured to his whole body, this is my normal look. I smiled. You and your suits. I thought you liked the way I dress. I do. It's cute. Charming. The place really did feel familiar. To our right was a lake. It was beautiful. I saw fog hanging over parts of it and a canoe floating nearby, tied to a post in the ground near the bank. I saw mountains in the distance, trees everywhere, and flowers, colors I'd never seen before in my human life. It was like standing in the middle of a dream. Tell me what this place is, I said. Is it real? Are we actually here? It is real, Aiden said, but we're no longer here. This is a memory, part of history. We're in somebody's memory? We're in the universe's memory. We'll be able to see and hear things as they happened, but we can't interact. Imagine watching a movie while being immersed in the movie. You can watch it from a full 360-degree perspective. I let Aiden's hand go and spun around looking at everything. Wow, cool. He watched me twirl around. Where are we? He asked me. It hit me at that moment that I knew exactly where we were. I was finishing my twirl and stumbled a bit from the realization. It's heaven, I said. We lived here, you and me. I looked at him shocked by what I was saying, but knowing somehow that it was true. We did live here. Yes, we did. I looked out across the meadow at the hills in the distance. Over there, I said, pointing in the direction that I was looking. There's a house on the side of that mountain. It's mine. He took my hand and we started walking in that direction. We walked through a meadow full of flowers. I'd never seen any flowers like them on earth. They had a sweet aroma that made me almost giddy. Another memory popped in my head and I stopped walking. Aiden stopped too. We used to come down here together, I said. We'd put a blanket down out here and have a picnic. Wait, we eat? We do. It's a pleasurable activity and not required to sustain life, but yes, we do eat and drink when we choose to. We walked on. Good memory, he said. A sense of overwhelming love and happiness came over me. The meadow was larger than it looked initially, but I would have been happy to spend the rest of eternity in it. The sky was blue and the temperature was perfect. A slight breeze swept across the meadow. I could smell the sweetness of the flowers in the breeze, and I looked up and saw birds flying overhead. I hate that we went away from this place, I said. Aiden made a sound. I don't know whether it was a grunt or a laugh. Me too, he said. The scenery gradually changed to nighttime in a different location. We were surrounded by others like us. Everyone moved about, talking and laughing. Where are we now? I whispered. You don't have to whisper. We're not actually here, so they can't hear you. He looked around. Wow. Wow. What is it? I always loved this place, he said. It's been a while since I last saw it. They have nighttime here? I asked. You'll find a lot of similarities here between heaven and earth, Aiden said. God used heaven, what you're seeing now, as a template for the planet you've been living on. Ice skating, I said out of nowhere. There's ice skating here. Porsha! I heard somebody behind me call out my name, and I turned to see what appeared to be two young women running toward me. I moved aside as they ran past. You don't have to move, Aiden said. I know, we're not actually here. It was an instinct. I looked in the direction the two women ran in, and I could see a waist-high wall around something. They ran up to it and stopped. My feet started moving that way before I had time to think about it. Aiden walked with me, looking around as we went. He let go of my hand and put his arm around me as we approached the wall. A moment later, I could see that inside the wall was a big, beautiful skating rink. Everybody here looks like people, I said, checking out the crowd. Where are their wings? I figured they'd be flying around. We watched the two women wave at someone. They were angels, but I'm referring to them as women because that's how they look to me. I will say one thing that I'd noticed about the angels, or at least the ones I saw in this scenario. They had a glow about them, like their skin had a light shining from underneath it. It wasn't creepy or scary at all. It was beautiful. Each angel's light was slightly different. Some had more of a rosy glow, some were more of a peachy color, some had a hint of a blue tint. No two seemed to be the same. They walked around on the ground. Nobody seemed to have wings, and nobody was flying. I pulled one of my sleeves back and looked at my arm. It had a pretty golden color. We were made in the image of God, Aiden said, just like humans. In our general form, we really don't look all that different. So God looks like a human, Aiden nodded. I have to know, I said. What exactly does God look like? He pointed out to the skating rink. Look who's out there, he said with a smile. I looked out and saw myself skating across the ice like it was nothing. I twirled and spun. Somehow it wasn't surprising at all to see it. This is my favorite place, I said. I spent a lot of time here. Aiden, his arm still around my shoulders, looked at me. Do you remember this particular night? I looked out at myself again. I came here after work. Wait. I looked back at Aiden. I work? Of course I do. I keep track of numbers, quantities. Yes, you do. Well, you used to. I came here. I liked to come here after work to see the others and skate a little before heading home. And on this night, Aiden said, someone saw you for the very first time. He gestured to our left, and there was an image of Aiden standing on the other side of the wall and watching me skate. You didn't notice me, Aiden said. Not on this night, anyway. I looked at his image and smiled. Oh, wow, I said. I made a move to walk toward the image, and Aiden moved his arm from my shoulder and down to my waist. We approached the image together. You look... I don't know, I said. You look like a kid in a candy store. Why are you looking at me like that? Aiden placed his finger on my chin and turned my face toward his. That's the look of me falling in love with you, he said, and he kissed me. I kissed him back. Falling in love with me, I said, and I looked out at the scenario again. I pointed at myself still skating alone. We hadn't even met yet at this point. That's true. Then how can you fall in love with me here? Love at first sight, he said with a grin. I don't know what to tell you. It can't be that simple. That's not a real thing that actually happens. I looked at the two images of us. They were maybe 30 feet apart, and others skated about and took up space between them. But you did, I said quietly as the realization came to me. It did happen. Yes, it did. Several more memories came back to me at that moment. I looked at Aiden in shock as they came back one by one. You are a painter, I said. You live pretty far away, and one of your jobs was creating new images and ideas for God's worlds. He nodded. God said that I was a good source of inspiration. I drew and painted landscapes and seascapes, but I wasn't the only one. Others created similar pictures and presented ideas. We had billions of planets to work with, so he was always looking for input from me and others like me. I remember what he looks like, I said, and I paused. I can't believe I forgot that. The little old man. Don't let him hear you say that. He's not here, though, I said. Is he? No, he's been gone for quite some time. Our view changed to another meadow. It was daytime again, and we were surrounded by pretty little yellow flowers. I looked around. What's this place? I asked. No, wait. I turned and looked behind us. That's your house, I said, pointing to a white 2-story house up on the hill. I felt a whoosh, like a gust of wind, and an image of Fedra walking among the flowers appeared on the other side of where I was standing. I jumped at the shock when I turned and suddenly saw her so close to me. Not real, I said, trying to be cool. Not real. What's she doing here? Aiden didn't answer right away. He watched her image along with me. In this scenario, she appeared to be in the meadow alone. She was walking along, feeling the flowers and running them between her fingers as she moved. We hadn't met yet, Aiden said, still watching her. You and me? Not at this point. Heaven's a big place, I said. We were all spread out. She lived near you. You... Oh. A memory came back to me that made me shudder, and Aiden noticed. What are you remembering? He asked me. The two of you. You were a couple. He put you two together. Yes, we were, but that ended a long time before I saw you. Well, it ended for me. I looked at Fedra's image again. She was standing in the meadow looking up the hill at Aiden's house. What do you mean it ended for you? I asked. Who decided to end the relationship? You or her? I ended it. Why? I didn't love her. He watched as Fedra's image started walking toward the house. I saw no future with her. We followed the image up the hill to the house. Fedra walked up onto the porch, started to knock, and then stopped. She turned toward the meadow and looked out at it. Angels have flaws, Aiden said. One of our biggest problems is that we hold grudges. We can't let things go. Fedra's image suddenly turned, went back to the door, and banged on it with her fist. We saw Aiden's image look out the window next to the door. He saw Fedra and then went to open the door. "There's nothing left to say," we heard Aiden's image say to her. "Yes, there is," Fedra said. She tried to grab Aiden's hands, but he backed away. She followed his image into the house, and Aiden and I went inside too. "Please, can we just talk?" she said. "Don't make a hasty decision. God put us together for a reason." "God scattered us about at random," Aiden's image said. He was done tinkering with us and he got bored, so he threw us all down and went to find something else to do. Fedra stamped her foot. "I refuse to believe that." Aiden's image gave her a look of bewildered disbelief. He didn't respond. Fedra tried to approach him, but he gently pushed her away. "It's over," he said. "Go home." She wiped her hands and looked him in the eye. "You're making a big mistake. We'll both suffer because you never go home," he said more firmly. Fedra left without saying another word, slamming the door behind her. "This is heaven," I said to Aiden as we watched Fedra's image through the window. She was stomping off down the hill with that long blonde ponytail swinging behind her. "There's no drama in heaven, right?" Aiden laughed a little. "In a perfect heaven? Maybe not. Remember that this place and everything in it was created by an imperfect being." He turned to see his image walking away. We followed him into a big studio. It was full of paintings, sketches, art supplies, and notepads covered in scribbles about possible world designs. The image stood in front of an enormous canvas resting on an easel. It was a half-completed painting of what looked like a wheat field to me. "This was a rough time creation-wise," Aiden said. "Mostly all I came up with were barren wastelands. Not much beauty or inspiration there." We watched him pick up a paintbrush, dab at some dark brown paint on a nearby palette, and add a few rocks to the picture. "You were a couple," I said again, and like I just realized it for the first time. "Why didn't she just move on and find somebody else?" At the risk of sounding unbelievably full of myself, she never got over me. "And then there's that built-in character flaw of not being able to get past things," I said. He pretended to look around like he was considering it. "Yeah, maybe that played a small part in it," he said, and then grinned. "Everything I went through with you as a human on Earth, all the bad stuff and the odd stuff, that was all her. She did that. She hates to see us together." Aiden nodded. "I wasn't able to see it or pick up on it because she's stronger on Earth than we are, or stronger than we are when we're separated. Together, we have more power on Earth than angels like Fedra." "Like the Wonder Twins," I said. "Like what?" "There's this cartoon that Litty watched when she was a kid. You had these two twins, and they'd bump fists and say, 'Wonder Twins power activate.' And they could turn into different things and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Way more than either of them could do alone." "Ah, yes, Wonder Twins. That's about the closest thing I can think of that a human could relate to when it comes to what we can do on Earth." "Phaedra's jealous of me," I said. Aiden watched his image wipe some paint off a palette knife. "Jealous of us," he said. "She found out that I was spending time with you on Earth, and instead of just leaving it alone and going on with her work, she decided to get involved and screw everything up." He looked at me, a slightly pained expression on his face. "Sorry about that." "You don't need to apologize," I said. "It's not your fault." Would you like to see a better time?" Aiden asked. Before I could answer, the scene changed to what appeared to be some sort of office. I saw rows and rows of shelves, all stacked with papers of different colors. The light in the room had an amber glow to it. I saw myself nearby, sorting papers into 3 different stacks. "Oh," I said, "I'm working on a report for one of God's new galaxies." Aiden was right beside me, watching the scene along with me. "You remember?" "I do." We heard a noise behind us, and there was Aiden's image, standing at the service window. He watched my image and waited patiently. "How long did you stand there like that?" I asked Aiden. "You should have spoken up." "Not too long," Aiden said. "You appeared to be fairly immersed in what you were doing. I didn't want to interrupt." "I really wouldn't have minded," I said with a smile. I wasn't sure. My image suddenly looked up and set the papers down. "Can I help you?" Aiden's image nervously fumbled with a folder and pulled a few pages out of it. He held the papers up. They appeared to be sketches of something. "God approved these drawings for the current galaxy. I was wondering," "We don't handle drawings here," my image said. "I know, but I was wondering if you could..." "That's Theta Building, Section 4. Ask for Elise." Aiden's image lowered his head and pretended to study the drawings before stuffing them back in the folder. I'll do that," he said. "Thank you." "All right." My image went back to her sorting. "Why are they speaking English?" I asked Aiden. "And what's so happy about this?" "They're not speaking English," Aiden said, "and neither are you." "What? Yes, I am." "Would you like to hear some English?" "I'm hearing it right now." The scene we were watching appeared to be paused. "Listen to this," Aiden said. He started speaking what sounded at first like a foreign language. It was choppy and disjointed. "That's not English," I said. "What is that really?" "Just listen," he said, and he continued speaking that other language. After a few seconds, I could pick out a word here and there. Most of it made sense shortly after that. "If that's English," I said, "how come it doesn't sound like it?" "You're coming back to your normal self," Aiden said, "your real self. English is what you knew for over 30 years. So that's what you think you're still hearing. It really doesn't matter as long as we can communicate." "When did I switch from English to something else?" "I haven't heard you speak English since I last saw you in the waiting room." "We speak all languages," I said. "But what I'm speaking right now, it's our language," Aiden said with a smile. "Yes. Humans wouldn't understand it. It just sounds like music to them, remember?" Aiden's words resonated for a moment. "Yes, it does," I said. "I hear it now. I forgot how much I loved it." "You asked how this was a happy moment," he said, and the scene started moving again. "Look back there at me, screwing up my courage." I looked back at Aiden's image. He was standing there at the window, shuffling the papers in his folder and glancing up a time or two. My image noticed that he hadn't left. "Is there something else I can help you with?" Yes. Would you like to go skating with me sometime?" "Skating?" Aiden's image lost his grip on the folder and nearly dropped it. "Holy shit," I whispered to Aiden. "You're so nervous." "If you would like to," Aiden's image said. He then left the folder on the counter and stood up a little taller. "I would love to go skating with you, if you wanted to." My image shrugged. "Sure, why not? How about tonight?" His eyes widened. "Tonight?" "Meet me there after dark." "Oh," my image walked over to him, hand extended. "Porsha." Yes, Aiden." They shook hands. "So nice to meet you." "Okay, Aiden. See you later." I watched my image go back to work like I hadn't just met the most wonderful entity ever. Aiden's image stuttered out something about looking forward to seeing me later, and then he collected his folder and left. I turned to Aiden. "I'm sorry I was so rude to you that day." "You weren't rude. You were working, and I interrupted you." "But I've never seen you like that before." "Sure you have, on the day we just watched." "You already had a crush on me," I said, giving him a playful poke. "Oh, it was more than that." "Is that right?" "Now, let's just say that I was way ahead of you on that. It took you a while to warm up to the idea." I thought about it for a moment and let out a little laugh. "That's true. You were persistent, though." "It wasn't a total uphill battle," he said. "Look at you." I saw myself standing over there sorting papers. My image then looked back up toward the window where Aiden's image had been standing a moment earlier and smiled a little. I grinned and then got back to work. Aiden nudged me. Did you see that? Oh my goodness, I said, feeling like I was probably blushing a little. Do angels blush? I wasn't sure. That's what makes this happy, Aiden said. Chapter 9. Porsha felt a hand gently grasp her right shoulder, and she turned around to see Lucifer standing behind her. Aiden, he said, I'd like to borrow her if you don't mind. Claire has an urgent request for you. Urgent request? What's going on? Just go see her. Aiden bowed and left the scenario immediately. Lucifer turned around and saw Porsha's image at her work table. I remember those days, he said. Speaking of memory, is yours coming back? Bits and pieces, she said. I'll see something, and then a bunch of stuff comes back all at once. It's hard, frustrating, like I'm torn between Earth and this place. That's exactly what it's like, he said, because you are. This is a difficult process. Unfortunately for you, you're going to have to do it twice for this trip. Twice, Porsha said. Twice for what trip? Lucifer put his hand on her shoulder, and the scenario around them faded away, changing back to Lucifer's office. You're not supposed to be here, he said. Not yet. Because of everything that's happened, we'll have to fix a few things before we send you back to live out the rest of your life on Earth as Litty Roberts. Remember her? Litty Roberts. Porsha stared at the floor, thinking. She looked back up at Lucifer. No, I can't say that I do. Should I? It's you. That's your name on Earth. You're supposed to be there right now, living out your human life and learning what you were born there to learn. Instead, you're back here with me for a little while. It's always a pleasure to see you, just not at this time. Why can't I remember everything? She asked. It's coming back to me, but there are big chunks of information that are missing. Like what? I don't know exactly. It's just a feeling. Not everything seems familiar or even makes sense at this point. And it won't, Lucifer said. You know enough for now. Aiden walked back up the hall and re-entered the reception area. Claire was standing behind her desk and looking through a stack of papers. You have an urgent matter for me? Aiden said as he approached her. She set her papers down and picked up a red note that sat at the edge of her desk. She held it up. Fedra's on the move. Who sent that note? Denali went back in to check on things. I figured he'd still be busy sorting out his own situation. He is, but he was worried about you. He came by here to ask how everything went, and I filled him in as best as I could, and then he went back to the hospital to have a look around. Fedra was just leaving when he got there. He couldn't have stopped her, Aiden said. Not on his own. Yeah. Claire looked around. Frank was still the only one sitting in the waiting room, and he appeared to be lost in thought. He was paying them no mind. I'm scared, Claire said softly. We're in big trouble. Aiden took the red note from her hand. I won't let anything happen to you or Denali, he said. You have no say-so in this. I appreciate the sentiment, but it won't happen, Aiden said firmly. I'll take all the blame because that's where it all lies. I did this. I'll accept any punishment from it. Claire looked at him sadly. What do you think he'll do? Aiden folded up the paper and tucked it into his suit jacket pocket. I don't know. It will probably depend on how everything plays out. I'm going back to have a look around. Claire pointed at him. Don't let her get too close to you. If she touches you, I know, Aiden said. She won't. You've got to keep Porsha's body safe. The boss will have a fit if anything happens to it. Liddy's body, Aiden said. Claire rolled her eyes. Same thing. Are you going back now? There's no time like the present. If you get a chance, can you grab my Garfield and my Kathy book? I have some stuff at the Angry Aardvark. Yes, Aiden said. I remember. I'll do my best. Thank you. And be careful. She's sneaky. I can handle her. If you see Porsha, tell her I won't be gone long." "You got it." She pursed her lips and then smiled a little. "It was good to see you two together again." Aiden gave her a wink and then disappeared. He reappeared in Liddy's room at Moses Cone Hospital to find it cleaned and prepared for the next patient. He went down the hall to the janitor's closet and saw that the doorknob was still misshapen and had not been touched. Liddy's body remained inside the closet in a suspended state. Aiden left the hospital and appeared on the roof of Jerry's apartment building. Nothing had changed except that the shattered crystal angel was gone. Jerry and Fedra were sitting together on the large sectional sofa in his living room as Aiden discovered when he appeared in the hallway just out of their sight. He could hide his presence from Jerry if he chose to, but not Fedra. He saw that Jerry appeared to have a white elastic bandage around the top of his head like a mummy. "So she's gone," he heard Jerry say. "Aiden's gone too. Liddy's... I don't know where she is, but Aiden's done something with her," Fedra said. Jerry stood up and started pacing back and forth. He stopped and looked at Fedra. "What does this mean for me?" "For you?" She shrugged. "I have no idea. I suggest you get on with enjoying your life. Live it to the fullest, as soon as possible." "What for? What's the hurry?" His voice sounded strained and higher pitched than normal. "You think he's going to come back here and do something to me?" Aiden leaned in, listening intently. "This is uncharted territory," Fedra said. "Anything is possible." "You'll protect me, though. You can do something to stop him, right?" "Let's wait till he comes back," Fedra said. "He'll have to come back eventually." "Why?" Fedra stood up and reached for the loose end of the elastic bandage wrapped around Jerry's head. Jerry instinctively pulled back. "No, come back," she said, motioning for him to step forward. "Your head is fine." "Hell no, it's not." "I fixed it. Now hold still." Jerry let her remove the bandage from his head. He cautiously reached up and felt the places on his head where the chunks of falling glass had cut him earlier. It was all healed. "Wow," he said. He'll come back because he has to collect you," she said, dropping the bandage on the sofa. "Collect me?" Jerry backed up a little. "He can't do that. You can't let that happen." "Do I need to remind you that this is all your fault?" Fedra said, moving in closer to him. "If you'd kept your mouth shut, he'd have never found her. You ruined it. You ruined everything." "What the hell did I ruin? You were the one who came up with the stupid idea of putting Liddy in the loony bin, not me. Anything that happened after that was on you. You had to know that he'd go looking for her." Fedra moved in even closer. "And how did he get free from his captivity here? She poked him hard in the chest. "You pulled the piece of bracelet out of his pocket. You set him free. You were the one who told him where he could find her. You!" She turned on her heel and walked away in disgust. Aiden ducked back away from the edge of the hallway, making sure he was out of her line of sight. "It's nothing to worry about," Jerry said, his voice shaking. "We can handle this." Fedra looked back at him. "He may not be coming alone. Aiden by himself I can handle. Add another one." Jerry started walking slowly towards her. "What do you mean, another one? How does that... Another what? Angel like him?" "There was a second one," Fedra said. "I had him detained, suspended. When Aiden got free, he must have found him and let him out." "Why are you just now telling me this? This would have been good information to have when the second one showed up." "I had it all under control. There was no need to let you in on it." "Well, I had it under control until you set Aiden free." Jerry rubbed his face and groaned. "This isn't how it was supposed to go," he said, shutting his eyes tight and shaking his head. "Everything was good." He looked up at her. "Everything was great, but then you..." "Stop. Shut up. You never once sent me away. Not once. In all the forums I presented myself to you. You were up for anything, and we had a hell of a time together. But then, what? Aiden scared you a little bit and you spill all the secrets? I understand the appeal of blaming all your mistakes on me, but please, Give it a rest. Take accountability for once. You have no idea what it's like to fear for your life like that, Jerry said. Oh, really? I don't. I've been in battle, Jerry. A fight to the finish, and that finish is something far beyond any death you could ever conceive of. You don't know fear. Your encounter with Aiden's the closest thing to a truly terrifying situation you've ever known. He watched her walk over to the coffee table and pick up the broken torso of the crystal angel. Your situation is worse than you think, she said, holding up the broken piece of crystal for him to see. My concern isn't that we have 2 angels to contend with. We probably have 3. 3? Jesus! Jerry turned and walked back toward the windows facing North Elm Street. He stood there, hands on his hips, looking out at the city. How the hell are there 3? We haven't seen Litty anywhere. I can't see her anymore, which probably means she's no longer with us. Jerry turned back to face her. No longer with us? You mean she's dead? Fedra nodded. Most likely. Who killed her? You? I can't kill her. So who did it? I don't know for sure that she's dead, but if she is, she had to have done it herself. Why do you say that? Fedra gripped the piece of broken crystal. Aiden watched her as she stiffened up. Because she's not human, she said. She's an angel like Aiden. She is not, Jerry said, walking back over to Fedra. He glared at her, not really sure where his sudden anger should be directed. I've been around her for months, and I definitely know if she was an angel or not. She's... Just stop. Your track record on that particular subject isn't too great. Why would I lie about it? The elevator doors opened, and 4 stepped out. Sensing the tension in the room, he looked to Fedra for some direction. Come on in, she said. Jerry and I were just discussing the current situation. 4 took off his baseball cap and draped it over one of the corners of a nearby plant stand. What current situation? You won't believe this, Jerry said. Remember that lady that was always hanging out with Aiden? Litty? Yeah. Jerry gestured to Fedra. She just told me that Liddy's not even a human. She's an angel just like Aiden. You didn't let me finish, Fedra said. That's not entirely true. She is an angel, yes, but in the time that you saw her and were around her, she was a human being. She had the spirit of an angel in a human body. 4 looked back and forth between Fedra and Jerry. Man, that's crazy. Why would she want to be down here in a human body? She didn't ask for it, Fedra said. Lucifer sent her here to learn a lesson. How'd you know that? Jerry asked. You don't go hang out in hell, do you? No, but word gets around. Angels gossip just like humans. You hear things. Besides, when I see Aiden go out of his way to spend time with somebody that he hasn't made a deal with, it's a pretty big red flag. 4 stuck his hands in his pockets and rocked back and forth on his heels. So, what's the concern? Fedra and Jerry looked at him. Are you serious? Jerry said. They're coming back, Fedra said, and we have to be ready. They who? 4 asked. And who are they coming back for? Is it both of y'all? I would imagine so, Fedra said. Aiden, Litty, and another angel named Denali may be coming back to deal with us. Why? What did Jerry do for him to look so freaked out? Jerry thought for a moment and then looked at 4. What exactly do you know about this whole situation? He asked. We don't have time for this, Fedra said. 4, was there something you needed? Why are you here? I came back to get my paycheck, he said. You still owe me for that last group I rounded up for the bungee jump last weekend. We also need to work out the details for Monster Jam. He turned to Jerry and pointed to Fedra. I know she's here to help you out with a bad deal you made with Aiden. Dude, you made a deal with the devil? Jerry looked at Fedra wide-eyed. Why'd you tell him that? Fedra shrugged. I didn't realize it was a secret. Anyway, 4 said, we had Aiden stuck here like a zombie because Fedra put a spell on him. So, he's gone. You said he was coming back, so... Fedra pulled a large roll of cash out of her skirt pocket and held it out. Why don't you take this? I'm sure you can think of somewhere to go spend it. We'll talk about Monster Jam later. Ford took the cash and thumbed through it. He looked back up at her. You want me out of here, don't you? Getting extra people involved overcomplicates things, she said. He leaned in closer. Will I see you later? If you'll stay away from here, she whispered back. You got it. He grabbed his hat, got in the elevator, and left. Jerry just stood there looking at her. Fedra watched the elevator doors closed and then looked back at him. What? I feel like I don't know you at all, he said. 1 minute you love me, you want us to be together forever, and the next minute you call me a useless piece of shit. You go around telling people my business like Ford doesn't really count, Fedra said. He's like our business partner. He needs to know what's going on. He's our gopher. He runs errands and rounds up hobos for my parties. He's not a partner by any means. Fedra started to speak and then paused. She glanced over her shoulder for a moment. Aiden took a few steps back down the hallway. I don't know what to tell you to prepare for, she said. I don't even know how to prepare myself. Just live your life. Be happy. We'll have dinner parties and enjoy ourselves. But watch your back and never get too far away from me. When they come, they'll be coming for both of us. You will need my protection. You'll still do the thing, right? What thing? Jerry sighed out of frustration. Keep me out of hell? It's pretty important that you do that if we want to be together. Oh, yeah. She stared out the window. Absolutely. You don't sound too sure. Fedra suddenly stepped back to get a clear view of the hallway and looked directly at Aiden. Aiden vanished as soon as her eyes met his. She walked back up the hallway and approached Jerry. What was that about? He asked. She glanced toward the hallway again with a little smile on her face. Nothing. Chapter 10. Porsha watched Aiden walk out the door to go see Claire, leaving her alone with Lucifer. He'll be back, Lucifer said. Porsha stared at the closed door. Is everything okay? She asked. Where's he going? He has to go back and check on the situation that you two left behind on Earth. You don't remember anything about it, do you? Porsha looked down at the floor and concentrated. Not at all, she said after a moment. I wish I could have gone with him. What good would it have done? The scenario is completely unfamiliar to you now. I know, but at least he wouldn't be there to deal with it alone. You have compassion for him, Lucifer said. You care. Of course I do. What about the humans? The humans? What about them? Do you have compassion for them? Compassion for humans? I guess it would depend on the human. I'd say the same thing for angels. Why do you ask? Lucifer waved the question away. Never mind. We haven't incorporated the experiences and memories from Liddy's life yet. Your feelings on the matter could change. Why would they? What did I experience? It's a work in progress, so I shouldn't say anything else at this point. You'll have to go back and finish living out that life, and then I'll see where you are before... Porsha looked at him closely after he trailed off. Before what? She asked. What were you going to say? You were always so inquisitive. I know. Before what? And persistent. Porsha crossed her arms and looked at him. Before I decide whether or not to put you back to work. Back to work? Doing what? What Aiden does? Lucifer nodded. You've been on what I guess you could call a working vacation for a while now. All of Liddy's life, to be exact. To live a human life, Porsha said. So I can better understand the human experience. She started to say something further and then stopped herself. Lucifer looked at her, lowering his head. Do you remember why you had to do that? Just bits and pieces, she said quietly. You said, I'm remembering a conversation we had. You called me harsh. You said I was too extreme. I disagreed with you. Yes, you did. You couldn't see it. That's why I pulled you out of rotation. You needed time to gain a little perspective. You told me that we have rules here. That's right. God's angels have rules too, but since there's no one here to hold them accountable, they tend to forget those rules. I hold you all to a higher standard. Will it matter in the end? I don't know, but I do it anyway because I believe it's the right thing to do. Porsha sat down on the sofa. My mind is overloaded, she said, her eyes wide. These memories keep coming back. I feel like an empty shell, like I'm being told about somebody else's life. Part of it feels real, it feels right, but the rest of it... She buried her face in her hands. Lucifer stood there for a moment, watching her. He then approached and sat beside her. I know this is hard, he said. Aiden's working some things out. It's not time to go back yet. I understand that you volunteered to return with him to deal with Fedra. I did? He gave you a choice when you were human, and you chose to come back here to help him. Porsha raised her head up and looked over at him. That was nice of me. Well, from what I understand, you had good reason to get personally involved. Why do my memories keep changing? Porsha asked. I feel like I'm slipping in and out of a dream. Fedra, this is going to sound weird, but I don't even know what I remember about her anymore. How far back do you want to go? Lucifer asked. How much time do we have? Time is irrelevant. We have all the time we need. But Aiden, Lucifer took her hand, we have time. Take me all the way back, she said, as far back as we can go. I want to see everything. Chapter 11. Aiden removed himself from the hallway in Jerry's apartment and reappeared on the rooftop. He took a moment to collect himself before going to look for Claire's suction cup Garfield and Book of Kathy cartoons. He found them near the city swing and tucked them in his jacket pocket. Not wanting to linger, he immediately left the area and reappeared at the front entrance of the Angry Aardvark. He went inside and saw a store clerk who was in the back of the store arranging a new display. Good afternoon, he said with a wave. Are you here to look for more stuffed animals? The lady asked, setting down her steaming iron and approaching him. You remember me. Not many people come in here dressed like that, she said, gesturing to Aiden's suit. I'm here to pick up some things for a friend, he said. I'm not sure what she has here. The clerk went up to the front counter and checked the tags on several bundles of items. She then unfolded a large paper bag, reached down inside it, and pulled out a small paperback book. She turned it over in her hands. Huh. That's probably it, Aiden said, walking up to the counter. The clerk stood on tiptoe and peered down into the bag. It's a bunch of old books. Aiden nodded. That's definitely Claire's. The clerk checked the note on the bag and nodded. Yep, it has Just Claire written on it with a smiley face. She handed the bag to Aiden, and he thanked her, walked out the door, and vanished once he was out of her sight. Claire was very happy to see Aiden in the waiting room with that big bag. She immediately scooped all the empty pneumatic tubes out of a nearby bin and set the bag in the bin. She looked around, and then grabbed a few books out of the bag to look at them. Do you really think it's a good idea to have those here? Aiden asked. Claire stuffed the books back in the bag and covered it up by filling the bin back up with empty tubes. Nobody thinks anything of these bins, she said. As long as I keep it from overflowing, they're nobody else's concern. She sent about 10 empty tubes back up into the system and then turned back to Aiden. You got anything else for me? Aren't you going to ask me how it went? She glanced up at the empty spot in her glass divider where the suction cup Garfield had been. It all went fine, she said. Right? She didn't touch you. Aiden reached into his suit pocket and pulled out the cartoon book and Garfield. Claire eagerly reached out and took them, saying thank you repeatedly. No, but she did see me, he said, or at least I think she did. Claire stuck the Garfield back up on the glass divider. What are you going to do about her? She asked. Lucifer's working on it. This type of situation crops up occasionally, but normally not to this degree. What do you mean? What degree? Most interferences don't involve one of us in human form being involved. It's mainly short-term harassment or a prank or something. This situation is much more serious. Can she be punished? Officially? By God? Maybe. But he's not here to make that decision, and we have no way of knowing when he'll be back. You can't let Porsha go back with things the way they are. We'll figure something out. Claire moved in a little closer and lowered her voice. Has the boss yelled at you yet? He's been oddly calm. I know, Claire said, her eyes wide. I feel like we're all going to get called into his office any second. All? I hope Denali can stay out of it. Yeah, probably not, though. Aiden glanced at the door to the hallway leading to Lucifer's office. I should get back in there. Maybe you should wait a bit. Why? He's taken her back. Way back. Now? Without me? Claire shrugged. She wanted to go, and we didn't know how long you'd be gone. What exactly... Aiden paused and looked toward the door again. What is he showing her? Don't worry, Claire said. Not that. Just in the beginning stuff. Are you sure? Why would he show her any of that? I don't know, but I'd want to be there if he did. I'm sure he'd include you. Aiden started toward the door, but Claire stopped him. Give him time, she said. Let her see. And I think we're going to stop there. Lucifer's going to take Porsha back to see something, and I think that's probably a good place to pick up next time at chapter 12. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the story. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon.